If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I was waiting for the last pop off. Okay, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Today, I'm being joined here by a good friend of mine from overseas, Kyle Fookes, everybody.
Hello. I'm
If
for whatever strange reason, if you can hear tapping, apparently, that someone's rudely having a shit ton of fireworks.
Yeah.
And it's very and I have like 3 dogs with me today, and one of them's now on my chest, shaking like a leaf.
Oh, poor thing. Like, yeah, right as soon, actually, it was before we started too, you asked me if I could hear any of that. I'm like, not really. And then I heard pop. I'm like, oh. I heard that one. Honestly.
It's like, it's not even, it's just so weird when people do this. It's like disregard for people as well. Especially when it's not like you guys have 4th of July.
Yeah.
And then we have like, fireworks day. And it's just like, yeah, it's just unnecessary. And everyone with dogs hates fireworks night because all the dogs just get scared and shit.
Yeah, around here there are some dogs that usually howl and bark on the 4th of July, especially on days that it doesn't concern that holiday at all. They just start popping them off and dogs just go all haywire, and I'm like, do people not realize that dogs kind of go through PTSD whenever they hear this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
It like, I'm not much of a dog fan, but I do worry about dogs well-being concerned when it does come to loud noises like that.
My girlfriend has just heard what you said and just turned around and given you a dirty look, Jon.
Oh, come on. I'm a cat guy. But anyway, you and I had done an episode.
Yeah, with worse quality.
it was awful.
Do you know what's so funny about that episode, right?
Go for
so that was about 2 years ago.
Roughly.
Yeah, roughly 2 years ago. So at the time, I was towards the end of my first year of photography, doing a degree, and then my work was being displayed in a local art gallery. And somehow more people were congratulating me more on being on the podcast with you, Jon, rather than my own photography work being in the art gallery. I had more people asking about it than I did the art stuff.
I'm telling you, that's brilliant. It really is. That's. It's a bit of a low blow for you, but for me, it's more like a ha.
I had a lot of my friends listen to that too.
What do they think of it?
They said that the sound was shit. Most of them said that.
Well, yeah, I remember talking to my mom about it too, and she's like, "Oh no, all the audio to it sound great." I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. You don't have the quality of hearing that I do." and this is
and the rest of the world.
And this is unfortunately the truth. Like, sometimes you can't hear really well, and sometimes you can. But
yeah,
she was listening to it and she's like, "Yeah, I thought the audio was great." I'm like, "No, it was going in and out and then really loud."
Yeah,
and
I can't.
Really quiet.
I actually can't even remember like how many what I was using to talk to you that time. I can't remember.
You were using
But I was
this.
just using headset.
You were using a headset which had like an
Oh.
extended microphone coming out of it. That was the one you were
Okay,
using.
yeah. I think it was just like a gaming one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for anyone out there wondering, like, what episode is this or you're talking about? I'm like brand new to this podcast here. Well, my old one I removed for two reasons. One was personal, and the other one was because the audio just wasn't good enough. Yeah, I could have just removed it all and just started from scratch, but what's really the fun of that when you can just rebrand yourself all over again? Um, but yeah, this one is it's way better. I don't have the crappy microphone that I used to have anymore. All that is just stocked up and stored away in my closet for good, hopefully. This microphone that I have here, I think I've
You're
mentioned.
always going through microphones, aren't you?
Well, no, well, not really. Um, well, kind of because
Yes, you are. I know full well you
I
are.
I uh I have a Logitech headset that has a microphone
How
to it.
many do you just like buy them and then just sell them afterwards you're done with them, or do you like keep them? Do you have like a large collection of just microphones?
Um,
Like just you just walk into your cupboard and it's just like a walk-in cupboard and it's just microphones.
I wouldn't say that. I'm looking at one of them right now. It's like the which side is it? The left side. I don't know why I didn't look at the L on the headset, but
Mm.
the left side to it is broken. It's not mine though. I found it like stored away in the house, and I really needed one to just listen on a podcast until like I get another one uh, for myself. And I was using back then. I did use a Logitech headset that had like the microphone thing, kind of going from up all the way down, and then you just speak out of it. It wasn't the greatest, but I used it. My very first one is a little bit like what you have now, but
Yeah.
it was a bigger microphone.
Yeah.
Um, and I tolerated it for a bit, and then all of a sudden the XLR cable cord that you have right now,
Yeah.
um, trust me when I say this, they don't last very long.
Mm.
The microphone that I have, it's a bit pricey. It's like $56 after tax over here. It could be cheaper for you all. I don't know. Um, but it's definitely well worth it. It is uh, um, A to B USB condenser microphone, and these microphones last way longer than an XLR condenser microphone. But yeah,
Mm.
I talked about it in my setup, and that was actually my very first episode too. It's my setup, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get any listeners out of this. The first, I'd say the first time I actually got any listeners at all was my third episode called "Dreaming About Love," and it was about me just basically pitting over my own self, saying that how I would have dreams about being in relationships, and I would wake up and go, "Oh, didn't happen."
Oh,
Have you ever had that done to you though?
what?
Like you would, like, when you were single, have you ever had it happen to you to where you would dream about being in a relationship with someone, and then you wake up like sometime around daylight hours, and you look all over and you're like, oh man.
No, my dreams are very. They're not. I when I dream, it's like it's either very oddly niche things of reality
Mm-hmm.
or incredibly bizarre things.
What kind of
Um,
bizarre?
um. So sometimes, I also have recurring dreams as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of really weird recurring dreams that I've had. Probably the most one I've had is 3 times the same dream.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's no like reason why these dreams would be recurring, but they just did. Would you like me to tell you the dream?
Go for it.
So, from what I can remember, because I've had it many times, well, 3 times now. So the backstory of the dream is that it's like set in the future, and it's like dystopia area, and then it's like sort of factory. It's like red lighting, and it's like everything's metal, and there's loads of pipes and small pools that come at the bottom of these pipes. So these pipes are basically slides. And in the dream, we are like this group of what I can guess would be like escapees or rebels or whatever, and we're being attacked by, I don't know, bad guys. And a group of us are running, and all I can remember from the dream is just like we're running for these people, and then we're like just jumping into these pipe things, and then just going down. I've had that about 3 times. Obviously, that's just only like parts of it that I can remember. The rest of them, just like I don't know. But I've had a couple of other ones that I can remember more so. One that's more, I find more bizarre. Another dream that I've had about more. Actually, I'd say it's more than 3 times. Basically, the dream is so it starts at like I'm in this like, you know, what you call it? Fuck. Teletubbies. You know
Yes.
yeah. You know, like the grass and the hills and that. There.
That was a nightmare.
Yeah. So the Teletubbies, sort of like Teletubbies scenery for like grass and hills, and then like in the middle of it, there's this sort of massive river. And on this river, yeah, I'm not sure you have, but some people might have who've been listening to this, been to like water parks or roller coaster parks, and they've had these like circular buoyant devices that basically you go along a river and like you get wet and whatnot on it, and it just goes. It's basically a ride. In this dream, there's like loads of these people on these going towards this area, and like in front of me is like my dad and this dog that I can't remember the life of me what kind of species it is, but I know it's just like, huh? No, it's not a spaniel. Sorry about that. What? What No, not my dad. Oh.
I love this.
Not my dad's dog. It's a random dog. Listen to what I'm saying. No, sorry about that.
If she wants to jump into the podcast, she's more than welcome. I hope she heard that. You can jump in if you want.
She got a chuckle out of that, but no, it's some dog that I can't remember the species of. That isn't my dad's actual dog. And then huh? What? Never mind. Okay. So yeah, and then basically, then like we get onto this boat thing, and like we start moving forward, and in the distance you see this like massive factory, like slash. No, I don't say factory. I'm gonna say like it looks like a castle. I think from what I can remember, and you get in there, and then Mickey Mouse is. Okay, this is a very large jump, but you get in there.
Mickey Mouse?
But Mickey Mouse's shadow is trying to be killed by Mickey Mouse, and you're Mickey Mouse's shadow, and then you're like hiding in a cupboard from Mickey Mouse. That's that. It's like a drastic change, but that's what I can remember from that dream. I've had it multiple times.
That honestly sounds like something someone on LSD would be dreaming about.
Okay, so my girlfriend just reminded me about something that basically I talk in my sleep sometimes. I say sometimes a lot.
I have actually been around some people that have done that before. It's
Yeah,
funny. It really is.
yeah. I bet basically mine are just really fucking random. So I've had a couple of really funny ones. One time, what was it again? The Spider-Man one. What was it?
I'm actually curious.
Huh?
What does Kyle say when he sleeps?
Okay, so basically I started off with it looks really. I said to, she I was was I talking to you or just talking to general? Okay, I was just asleep and then I just said, it looks really good. I'm really proud of you. Um,
That's what you
and
said in your
then
sleep?
yeah, it's what I said when I sleep. And then my girlfriend replied because I go to sleep and she stays up because she doesn't sleep at all.
Okay.
Um, and then she goes, proud of what? And then apparently I just go, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
And then the other one was in my sleep. What was the the outcome was um I literally said in my sleep, "The future is now, old man." um, yeah.
Who was the old man in the reference?
It's from 3.5 Men or 2.5 Men. Oh Malcolm, no, oh Malcolm. They're the same thing. Malcolm. They both have Charlie. Wait, pretty sure they both have Charlie Sheen, don't they?
Wait, what has Charlie Sheen in it?
Does it? Oh, okay. Oh, I thought that Malcolm in the Middle and two. Yeah, I know. That's why I
No.
corrected myself. I'm sorry. I'm talking to you, John, on the podcast, and then my girlfriend is rudely interrupting me.
I don't think she's. I did she smack you?
Yeah. No, it's my chest. Yeah.
Oh
Oh no,
man.
I've been abused.
No,
No, help me.
I
Help.
I
I've
think
been abused.
I think it's wonderful that she interrupts because it brings out like that, kind of like when you're in a studio room and you're just doing a podcast and like your significant other has no microphone and and they're just going. Yeah, he basically did this one time and it was really gross and you're just sitting there going, why are you bringing up this story?
She does that to me a lot in real life as well.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, and then so essentially, that where that reference come from is Malcolm in the Middle,
Yeah.
and like one of the sons is talking to Dewey is talking to who is he talking to? He's talking to some random kid, an old man apparently, and he just goes, "The future is now, old man." It's a bit of a meme, so um. So yeah, I ironically said a meme in my in my sleep.
You know, after being in this podcast and like my fan being super low, I am burning up in this hoodie. I just realized it too. Trying to like take off my hoodie. This is the first time I've ever had to take clothing off in a podcast. You and her can talk while I have my headphones off, or I'll just blabble on as I
No, it's cool. It's cool.
can't
Not
hear a
doing
single thing that's being said at the moment. I don't know if Kyle could be talking mad crap about me. I don't know. But all I know is that headphones on.
anything. John likes it on the butt. Wait, what?
What?
Then
Oh
I didn't say
man.
anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, by the time I got my headphone on, I heard John likes it when what? But yeah, life is interesting. Life is good. Yeah, dreams. I think the scariest one I had was when let's see. Obviously, I was sleeping, and in the dream, Mom and I went to Walmart, and she was at the deli, and I was going to go get something from. It wasn't produce, but it was like near the vegetable aisle, and I heard her screaming my name at the top of her lungs, saying, "No, don't do it." I'm like, "Don't do what?" And I turn around, and there's this humongous, and yes, I am emphasizing humongous, like silhouette figure. And I look up and I see the face. I recognize the face. I won't say the person's name or how they would be affiliated to me, although I'm not related to the person. But certain people in my family do know of this person. He just kind of like lowers his head down to me and gives me this really creepy smile. I just scream at the top of my lungs, and I wake up in like a really bad sweat. That was awful. There wasn't a lot of detail to it either, but I woke up, I looked over at my door, and there was like this silhouette figure standing at my door. I'm like, is this really coming to life? And I turned on the light, and there was nothing there. I think at one point too, I woke up, looked over to my left, and saw the shadow figure of a vacuum cleaner, and I thought it was a little midget wanting to beat me up. I kid you not. I'm like, don't do it. I'm not ready.
The strangest one, I know the most scariest one I had was I remember it because for two reasons, because it was so fucking scary to me, and because it actually affected my, you know how I took my sleep. In this case of this nightmare, I screamed in my sleep. It was years and years ago, and basically the dream is I'm walking down this dark tunnel, and suddenly I hear bzzz, and for whatever fucking reason, I'm still going down it, and it's just going bzzz. And then, like, out from the darkness to the end of it, there's this swarm, large fucking swarm of what I can only describe as either wasps or hornets, and they're coming straight for me, going bzzz. And then all I remember from the dream is them coming towards me. And the next morning, my mum told me that I'd like asked me if I was okay, and I was like, yeah. And I was just like, well, you were screaming in your sleep last night, and I was like, oh, like really loud. And I was like, oh, yeah, I had a nightmare.
The only complaints I ever give really when it comes to sleeping, I get woken up by either, it's usually my mom, and she's like, you snore so loud. I'm like,
Do I snore?
oh. So
apparently instead of snoring, I laugh.
I just snore. It doesn't end until I wake up. I've actually woken myself up snoring. I went to the doctor about it too, and he said, usually when you wake yourself up from snoring, you're not breathing very well. I'm like, apparently I'm breathing just fine because my folks tell me I snore all the time. Well, that's because your like nasal passageways are just closing in on you. I'm like, it seems to be doing fine for me. I don't know. But I did mention about most of my medical conditions to the new doctor, and he was more concerned about my sleeping pattern rather than my depression pattern. I don't know how that was, but there's that. By the way, I actually I told the guys about this too. I don't think I told you. I actually did see Ready to Rumble.
Oh.
Not my favorite movie.
It's not even a pay-per-view.
It was not my favorite movie.
Why?
I didn't realize back then things were super corny in movies.
Oh yeah. When did that? Well, that movie came out in.
2000,
It can't. Was it?
maybe. Goldberg was still popular by that time. When
2000. Yeah, it came out 2000.
yeah, so
Okay.
I,
My girlfriend's going now, so I'm saying goodbye to her.
okay.
Okay. So we're alone together, John.
Oh
Just
boy.
me, you, and the listeners.
In our dog blue, we can do anything that we wanna do.
I love you.
I'll probably get copyrighted just for singing that song. I actually have in my hand right now, a
A
very
large penis.
no, um, a miniature like small comic book called Vector 7 Adventures: The Battle at Half Dome. It's basically Transformers. I have not read any of it at all, and I do plan on reading it. It's just a very small book. I also have a collection over here. Something about Fantastic Four. Haven't even opened that either. But we when you and I had first talked on the podcast many blue moons ago, you had mentioned that you were, I think, doing photography. Are you still doing
Yeah.
photography?
Yeah. I am. Yeah. Barely, but yes, I am.
How's that coming out for you so far?
Oh, that is a kettle of fish. Do you want to get into that kettle of fish, my dude?
Might as well. It'll put in some time for the podcast.
Um. So, okay. So the first year I partied too much. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, I partied too much, went out too much, made too many friends, and essentially just fucked up.
Well,
And so
besides the latter of that, I mean, I don't have many friends at all.
yeah. I'm sorry if you're about to hear some barking. My girlfriend's granddad's going to turn up soon, and the dogs bark when someone's at the door. So
That's
just to
okay.
warn you.
That's
Um,
okay.
but yeah, essentially what happened was that and it wasn't just partying. I had a lot of stuff happen to me personally, and emotionally, mentally, whatever that happened to me first year. That wasn't would never help in any situation of doing uni.
Mhm.
But then I redid my first year, the second year, and I was arrogant. And I'm fully. Now I'm like, yeah, you were arrogant, cunt, Kyle, you idiot. I nearly failed again. But I didn't party as much. But what I did do is I started focusing on promoting music.
Mhm.
And now I've been doing music stuff for a year, and because of the music stuff I'm doing, my photography work has been overshadowed, very much so. Um, so yeah, this year, for the last like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, I've had this uh, uh, photography existential crisis.
Mhm.
Because I have been wanting to. Well, okay, so basically, with me and my personal opinion is that with any art, like photography, art, anything that's under that umbrella, you have to have something that you want to do. You have to have a goal. You have to be like, oh yeah, I want to take this picture. I want to do this photo shoot, or I want to paint this picture, or I want to collab and work with this person.
Mhm.
Because all artists, you have to progress. You have to keep on going forward, because otherwise you're not an artist. You're just I don't know what you are. And I basically, because at uni our holidays our summer holidays are like 8 weeks long. So I was working and promoting music And so, and like I come back from doing that, and I've been put into doing photography, and I'm like, I have to be in the learning, the educational learning mindset. I have to be a certain thing, a certain person now. And I overthought it a lot, but like it was how I was feeling, you know. I was feeling like, and this is only recent. This is literally like three or 4 weeks ago. I was feeling like this. And I was at like, um, I was fighting myself, being like, Kyle, you need to fucking do this. It might as well. You're getting in debt for a reason. And the other side of me was like, well, if you don't feel like you get enjoyment out of it, and you found something you enjoy and you're good at, and you know that you can make a prospect out of, why don't you just do that? Um, and the thing is, for me, was that with photography, it's like any industry rather than just art itself. It's that when you're on the outside and learning this skill, or this whatever the fuck you're learning, to be outside of the bubble and trying to get into the bubble is hard. You have to be able to. It's about networking. You have to know. You have to know a certain person. Like, go out your way to do a certain thing, or be with certain someone so they can get you to do a certain thing that will lead to a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
So with photography, I hadn't had that, and I hadn't had that in 2 years, 2 or 3 years. I hadn't had the opportunity to be like, oh yeah, this is my next step. This is oh yeah, I'm making progress as a photographer. I've never had that. The only surrealness I've ever had as a photographer and my photography is twice, was when previously mentioned, when I got put up at the art gallery, which was about 2 years ago now, and also last year when my work got put up in a cafe of a you won't have it there, but Waitrose, for the American people, American citizens and people who aren't in the UK. Waitrose is like a higher class supermarket. So upper middle class public people faces will shop there because it's, like, you know, a lot more expensive than, say, Tesco, which is like our Walmart or something like that. So yeah, and then but with my music stuff, that's like that. I'm totally in love with it, honestly, dude. Yeah, I'm like, it's so much fun, and you get so much from it. I've had so many personal what's the word? Personal what's the word? Personal experiences that if I weren't doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't have been able to like have that experience.
Well,
And
I will say I am proud of you of the way you turned out for it.
yeah, dude, it's just like it's worthwhile. I've been doing it for a year, and my team are like organizing a gig for students at the Coda at Colchester,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the biggest music venues in Colchester.
Oh,
And that
just before I forget about this too, I just thought of it. The conversation you and I had when it came about to I think you mentioned something about your showcase or something for photography, and you
yeah.
said that a bunch of people came up to you. Tell people exactly what you told me. It was a bit of a low blow to you, but I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so essentially what happened was 2 years ago, myself and Jon did
Did an episode.
did an episode of with really bad quality and whatnot. It was a good episode though. We talked about a lot. But during this time this was happening, I was getting to the end of my first year of photography, and for the end of year thing for our photography work, our work would be placed in a gallery in the local area, which is the Minories Gallery, which is a royal respected gallery and whatnot. And so, for on a professional level and as a academic level, that was a big thing for me. But whilst that was happening, obviously I had recorded this thing with Jon, and he was like putting it out and whatnot. And whilst I was advertising my work being in this gallery, I was also advertising my podcast with Jon. And so I'd be out and about, or I'd be out and about, or posting it on Facebook. And what really, it was bizarre. It was really bizarre because out of all the things that someone could have latched on to gain their attention, a random ass podcast with a random ass person, about random ass things, was more of an interest to them than my own fucking art. And I'd be like, this important thing that I'm proud of, my artwork. And then let's talk about this random ass American podcast I'm on that you wouldn't know otherwise if I hadn't advertised it.
Yeah, you brought that up to me, and at the same time that I'm laughing, I'm thinking to myself, poor Kyle.
Yeah, poor me.
I can only imagine, like, you're just standing there and you're like, yeah, my friends are gonna come up to me and they're gonna go, great work there, Kyle, and you're gonna go like, thank you, mate, and then they're like, oh, by the way, that podcast though, oh, you only came to okay. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah. Right. Okay. So this is with what we're saying. This goes on hand in hand with what I was talking about previously on music stuff. So once you get into like the music, sort of get your grasp of the music industry, there's sort of tropes you'll realize that the people and friends do that is a dick move, and it's similar to what we're talking about. People will less likely react or share. Say for example, if I was in a band and I wanted my band to, get more likes, get more shares, and get my name out there, and then I would post it that less people would react to that rather than a meme I'd post. Yeah, and it's kind of disheartening because when I'm promoting music, I'm trying to help other artists get their name out there, and trying to get people to come to these events, and the whole reason why I do it is because I know full well there's not just, I think for my age group, which is about 20 years old, 19 or 18, or I don't know, till 20. I'm 20 now.
Oh wow, I thought you would have been older than that.
Yeah, I'm 21 in November.
I thought you were at least 21, if that.
No, I'm 21 this year. And then I'm gonna be able to drink in America, and then I'm gonna come over there with some money, whatever money.
Do you know how old I am?
You are. Last time I checked,
I will be so surprised if you nail it.
I'm gonna say 25.
Oh, I wish he would have nailed it. Oh, I wish I was at that age.
Well, how old are you again?
I'm almost 30.
How old are you, Jon?
I'm 29. I'm about to be.
Fuck's sake, Jon.
I'm about to be 30. And let's see,
bro! I thought you were much younger than that.
We're coming at the end of October, so November, December, January, February, about 3.5 months, I'll be 30.
Bro, you're old.
Thanks. Thanks for that. You're not the only person that has told me before, man, you're getting old. My mom just randomly out of the blue sat there, looked over at me, and she's like, I just realized something. Yeah, Mom. You're about to be 30. I went, she's like, just think of it. 30 years. That's maybe half your life of what you'll be passing through once you're dead. I'm like,
Thanks.
yeah, thanks, Mom. Thank you. And she's like, no, seriously, look at it, though. 30 is the most mature age out of any person. I'm like, I don't know about any. And she's like, but seriously, 30 is a very
Big number.
Yeah, it's a very big number.
You're no, at that point you are no longer inclined to be considered a young adult. You are an adult.
I would still be considered a young adult until I'm 35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
over here, that's how it works. Like,
okay.
You're still a young adult until you hit 35, because once you're, like, 35, you're super close to middle age.
The other day, I was my girlfriend works at a place called Wetherspoons, which is like basically a pub franchise in England. It's very popular. She works there, and in the area in which she lives, which in Braintree, like, I'm sorry people from listening here from Braintree, but it's not the best place in the world.
Why's that?
And one time I went over to go to go pick her up, and this random guy just started talking to me, and he was like, "Oh, how old are you?" And I was just like, 18. No, 19. I mean 20. I'm 20. I'm just so used to like being young. I'm just the concept of time is a weird phenomenon. One time last year, actually, or 2 years ago, I actually forgot how old I was.
Mm-hmm.
For a solid 5 minutes, I forgot how old I was.
Been there. I've been there.
Yeah. But honestly, yeah, like 20 right now. For the first time, it might be because of Maisie, but right now I feel probably the most confident I am in my body and myself. Which is good, because I've always had insecurities and whatnot, obviously. But now I'm like, yeah, Kyle, you're fucking looking good. It might be the long hair. I'm not sure if you noticed, but my hair's got a lot longer.
Honestly, I think your hair does symbolize a lot of your personality, really, because like back when you didn't have long hair, you were. Don't take this the wrong way, but you forced your personality out. Like, you were trying to make it into something that it wasn't meant to be. And then later throughout the years, when you were going through, and yes, I'm going to call it this, your punk phase. And you're still in that phase to me. You're still in that phase.
It's not a phase, Mom.
You're
not a phase.
You're still that phase. You haven't forced anything out. You've let it basically shed its own skin, and that's what I like about your character, is that you haven't forced your characteristics to come out, but you've allowed it to shed its own skin, to where it's like, okay, this is who I am, and if you don't like who I am, don't deal with it. Like, look away, go somewhere. This is me. For myself, I've admired it, because to me, you're the kind of person that you really speak out your mind. And I'll say that. You do. You speak out your mind. Sometimes you're very brash when you speak out your mind. But there are other times to when it's like, is it really called for? And then you're like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay. We just move on. But yeah, you've definitely shown now.
Is this in reference to recent events in our community of lovely writers?
Maybe a quarter of it. Yeah, a quarter of it was reference to that. But
Yeah.
but other than that,
Yeah. In.
I mean, I won't dip like too far into it though, because like
Yeah. No. My thing with that
mhm.
and all that and that and what you're talking in general is
Try to make it subtle. Try to make it subtle.
no. Of course.
Yeah.
Uh. People need to my opinion still matters because I'm still knowledgeable of that subject.
I will give out a subtle thing about it and say I do understand where you were coming from.
But the thing is though, right, that there's a two-part to it though, and I think that's what people have misunderstood. The first part was the people just misjudging where I was coming from. And the second part was where I generally felt that I was being hurt by my friends.
I think I did read something about that too, and I mean, yeah, if they're listening, I mean, it's no longer really subtle though. But like, I did read into it, and there was a time where you did talk about it for quite a while. And yeah, I agreed with you, and yes, I did try to defend you on that. However, it came back and bit me really hard, and I'm like, I would continue, but I don't want to. And you understood that completely because you did
yeah, no, that's why I didn't say anything. I was just like, fuck, Jon's been shot down.
Yeah,
fuck.
Like, right as soon as I had been shot down, I told you, and you're like, I understand this isn't your battle anyway, but I do appreciate that. I'm like,
but yeah,
no
like
problem.
it was just some people listening to this like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Okay, to bring it out into context, not to shoot down on anybody because this is not what this is meant to do at all.
No, actually, I explain.
Okay, you go for it. You go for it.
So, essentially, myself and Jon are part of a community of people who participate in writing about wrestling.
It's basically called e-fedding.
It's called e-fedding, and I used to do it. I don't do as much as anymore. I don't think Jon doesn't.
No.
Do you do it?
Not as much anymore. I lost my flair to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but essentially, myself and Jon, we used to write in this thing. It's how we met and how we've met all our friends from there and whatnot. It's a large community.
Oh yeah. Too big.
I've known you for about 4 years now.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, roughly.
Roughly 4 years. So, a long time. That's a long time to know someone. And we know each other very well. But anyway, so essentially, in this group, in this this community of people, I had came across someone whose work I disagreed fundamentally as a dyslexic, as well as someone who loves writing, who has large respects for writing.
I didn't know you were dyslexic.
I am very dyslexic.
More you know.
Yeah. And so basically, I'm gonna call them. What should I call them? A part of some people disagreed with my disagreement with this person, and there was a large uproar about it. It went on for like weeks. In my opinion, I won the argument, but some people didn't like the fact that I'd said that I was winning the argument, and it sort of died. It died down. And then it started up again, and the reason why it started up again is because I felt that the standards in which I had received from doing something wasn't given to someone else in the same community, in the almost pretty much the same fucking situation, but they weren't given the standards that I was given, and I felt the need. I felt genuinely disrespected. Not in the sense of writing ways and e-fed ways and character ways. I felt disrespected on a level of having a friendship with someone, because the people that it was happening with, people I had the problem with, I've been friends for like 5 years. You know, I've grown up with them and they live over the other side of the world, but I know this person, they know me. But they allowed themselves they didn't allow themselves to be like, okay, yeah, we're wrong here, or they didn't even allow themselves to listen to what I was saying and consider. And the fact that they weren't allowing themselves to consider what I was saying pissed me off more, which didn't help the situation. And they sort of, you know, pushed it away. They sort of, they kind of like, oh yeah, cool, that's what, you know. They just, you know, they shrugged it off. But I felt right in what I was doing, and I wasn't proven wrong in what I was doing and what I was trying to say. But yeah, that's the thing of that.
I was always wondering too. Like I've never asked you about this when it comes to this subject. Did you message anyone during this time and like talk to them how you felt about it, or did you just
one person? Yeah, and she knows who she is.
Okay.
The other people didn't. They didn't message me. They didn't message me at all. I messaged someone afterwards after it happened.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I messaged someone afterwards, and they said, "Oh, it's bridge under the water." But I was just like, "Well, is it?" Because now I'm not in the the community group anymore.
Did
I have to go.
Does she understand where you were coming from now?
Yeah. She understood
Okay.
where I was coming from, but like she
Does she disagree with your emotions or your notions towards it?
notions. Taking account the person we both are referring to is like we both have that person. Her and I have a lot of love for each other. So
Well,
there's no.
I know who you're talking about, but what I'm asking is like, although she understood what you were talking about, did she disagree with how you went about it?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah. Mm-mm. But yeah, that the thing is that with that whole thing is that now I feel like I feel a very large, a very cut off from the community now,
Mm.
you know, and it saddens me a lot. So you might have noticed I've been coming on Skype a lot more.
If I must say, I like when it comes to something like this, subject matter at hand. At times when it comes to a person that isn't really a part of the situation at all, but kind of was at the time, but backed out of it as well, you got to see it from 2 points, your point and their point. And from your point, yes, I completely understand what you were talking about. I read it, and I did not understand the first sentence to it whatsoever. However, in the way that I see it, though, is that did I think you went about it the right way?
No.
I would say no, but then I would say I'm not too sure either, because like it would kind of lead me into question, like, did you talk to this person that you were complaining about and like say, look, like I don't understand a lick
To put
of...
it this way, I strongly feel that if I was to do it any other way,
Uh-huh.
I would not have been my part would not have been listened to as I felt it should have been.
So you didn't speak to this person and tell them that, hey, the way you're going about your work on this, it's super hard to read.
Because the thing is that they use excuses. That person we're talking about, Mr. Numberman,
Okay.
the amount of excuses they have for his work is ridiculous.
Because like I don't know if you understand where I'm coming through though. Like I'm trying to understand both sides.
Yeah.
And from your side, yeah, I agree. He shouldn't have done any of that stuff because it does make it really hard to read. However,
but it's his inability to be like, you know what, you're right, guys, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's like take down this because people admittedly, like, his friends, his entourage, as I call them, they fully admit that he gets shit every day, but they haven't stopped to think, why does he get shit every day? That's grossly, but also grossly overhyped. He doesn't get it every day. He gets it every now and then. So yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of just readjusting myself.
It's fine. But yeah, I think it could have. I think the way that you went about it, I definitely do think it could have went a little better. But I mean, you live and learn throughout however you take situations at your own risk.
Yeah. But also, it's just I'm not sure if you can hear me too well right now, but it just showcases that a lot of people in that community are afraid to be wrong, and they're afraid to be called up for the bullshit, and they're afraid to.
I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree with that one bit, because yeah, I've seen that beforehand, and yep, I've been called out for my own stuff too. Yeah, I hate to admit when I'm wrong. But when it's like obvious right there, yeah, sometimes I'll say, you know what, shut up. Just jokingly. But at other times when someone's being serious about it, I look into it and I'm more like, okay, there's two ways I could go about it. Either be very immature about it and say, no, I don't see it, and just move on about it. Or just go, you know, I don't like where you're going with this, but you're right. It hurts. It really does. It hurts the pride deep down inside, because all e-fetters have a lot of pride. A lot of it. Sometimes it's a little too much. But sometimes a lot of them do have a hard time by like confessing to them, to their own selves, by saying, yeah, I'm wrong on this. I've definitely been down that road before. It's not fun. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about e-fetting on here, because like it's too much of a depressing topic, really, and it's too political as well. Why did I open that hole?
Why did you do this?
I don't know. I was going to move away from it. I'm like, it's too political. But yeah, it is a very political community. And
but it's funny. What's quite funny, dude, is that they don't realize, just like they're in their own fucking bubbles, and they don't realize just how much politics happens.
Well, I used to remember when they would all hate the Skype call, because they would say, well, that's the Skype click, and then.
The ironic thing is when they were saying this stuff, the Skype click had absolutely no power whatsoever.
Like.
People
would say that there was a Skype click. I didn't know what they were talking about. All of us in the call denied that there was a Skype click. I mean, yeah, at times we acted like it, but that was just to mock them. That was about it. But it was just a bunch of friends just coming together on a call, having a good time.
Yeah. The only time I've ever witnessed a Skype click is when like VTech was at the like, and he will admit this as well. Like, I'm saying his name because he will admit this as well.
Well, you're not saying his real name, so that's good.
Okay, yeah. If you're saying his real name, you're just a fucking mark. When VTech was like, he would literally be like, he'd be at the head of HOBW. And he would have people like me. I'm very much. I did this a lot. I'd be posting the promo like, "Oh, what do you think of this VTech?" And he'd be like, I like it." And then he just like, they're just like your success in e-fedding was up to basically VTech or the Skype click, because that's what it was then.
Back then, now, maybe, because I wasn't a part of it when it was the original call.
Yeah, when it was the original, it was bad. Like, there was so much fucking good in it, but there was when it came to e-fed and politics, it was bad.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, but then when it was like a big thing, like it was it was almost like a cancel culture, almost, but like a call out culture.
To be fair, that was not the worst like group call ever. The one that was the worst one that I was ever a part of, you were never part of it though. Almost a decade. It was back when I don't know if you recall when like turning on your web camera was really special back then, because like you had like 30 free day trial to turn on your video camera. Do you not recall that?
Yeah, I think I do actually.
And like whenever our 30-day free trial was up, we would have to rely on that other person to, do that same thing and over. But anyway, we were it was who was it? Nick, Trey, Justin. There was some other people that were in the call too, and I can't remember. But back at that time, we were also known as the Skype clique from that time, from other people that the main call that I'm now part of knows about. They hated our calls because we took that call and we basically used Skype to book. We basically use it to write things down. And yeah, it was very controversial. I was blamed for a couple things that was not my fault, although I was told to write things down. And it was a very toxic time to be in, and none of us really knew that it was toxic until who was the first one that left it? I think it was Trey. I think Trey left it, and then Justin follows suit, and then Nick and I were the only ones around because there was another guy. I don't know if you've ever heard of his name, but he went by the name of El Beardo.
No, I don't know him.
He also had another alias name by the name of Andrew, which claimed to be from New York. Although, when his pseudo alias name was revealed, he basically just never came back, and he's been gone for almost a decade, just because of like basically kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You don't want to see what's behind the curtain until the curtain's revealed, and you're like, that's who's behind that curtain. That's how it went. Like, the curtain was pulled, he was revealed, and then he just dropped off the face of the earth. No one's ever heard of him ever since. Oh, did you get a little notification?
About what?
It's in the EFED group.
Which one?
I don't know. TJ's going live.
Oh.
I'm not gonna watch it because I don't want it to be in this episode. But yeah.
I keep on getting scared that I'm gonna get removed from the my other accounts and get removed from that group. To be honest.
The way that I see it, if you keep yourself low under radar for a little while, I probably shouldn't say this because oh well, they may never listen to this, but yeah, if you keep yourself low for a little while under radar, and you don't bring the thing back up, I don't see it happening. But that's just me. But anyway,
I want my personal back. I want my personal back in there. I want to see it on my timeline as I'm walking past. Like, yeah, it's just fucking bullshit.
I think you know who you have to talk to, but my question is, does he have your actual account blocked?
No, I thought he did, but he just changed his profile, so...
Okay, if I were you, you know what you have to do. You have to talk to him. Okay. That's the only way to get yourself unbanned from that. But anyway...
Shall we change the subject?
Yes, that's why I said
Can
anyway.
Can I talk to you more about my music stuff?
I mean, you can talk whatever you want. You can ask me questions. I told you about this earlier before the Kyle.
I know. Okay, so from what I posted on social media, and what I posted on my Instagram, my Facebook, and whatnot. What have you seen uh of my music stuff, and what's your thoughts on it?
I think I saw a poster you posted up a while back. I can't really recall.
I don't design the posters, by the way. We have a shout out to Jack Smith for being an absolute babe. But yeah, we don't have we have someone who designs the stuff, and he's really fucking good. So yeah.
Well, he's really good then.
Yeah, he's really fucking
Like
talented.
when I seen it, I'm like, I should have asked you who did it, but I immediately insinuated it was you, and I'm like, good on you, Kyle.
No.
To give credit where credit's due, whoever it is that does these things, including the person that was shouted out, good on you. Keep doing what you do.
Yeah, he's honestly like the team I have, and like the people that I work with are like I wouldn't be able to do. Hang on, I'm just rereading loads of loads of beef from the group chat. Anyway, so yeah, essentially, for those who hopefully listen to this, and have not just closed off after we went on a little discussion about beef about something that doesn't even exist.
I mean, it was just a little thing to where you really need to get off your chest. But yeah, moving forward from that is a lot better than just staying on it.
Yeah. So basically, what I do, what I do is I work for this company called Matchstick, and so a lot of people ask me, what is Matchstick? How did Matchstick start? What are you doing with it? And so I'm going to answer these questions for you now. For you, Jon, as well, who probably, I feel like I have told you, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I want to tell the world as well.
Well, I have a forgetful memory.
Yeah, we'll put it as that. So yeah, so basically what Matchstick it is we call ourselves a live production company.
Your microphone's away from your mouth.
Oh shit, it is. Is that better?
Yeah. I'm going to remind you this too.
So Matchstick is a live production company, and we have essentially an umbrella of open blank canvases of doing what the fuck we like. Mm-hmm. If I called up my friend Tom Grovestock, who I do the podcast, who I do Matchstick with, he's like he's like the what's the word? He's like the leader who has all these mad ideas, and then I have to sculpt them into something that's realistic and can be done. But if I called him up right now and said that I wanted Matchstick to start making and producing our own honey to sell, he'd be like, "How do we do it?" And then if I told him how we would do it, and if we make money from it, he would totally do it. But what we mostly do is music. We're more situated in music. We want to help growing artists in not just the local area, but almost worldwide, to get their name out to a larger audience of people, because there is some incredible artists out there, and really young and really unique acts as well, who deserve to get some recognition. And through Matchstick, we're able to give them that recognition. And we give that recognition through doing photo shoots, doing music videos, doing different like gimmicky series, and we do gigs obviously as well. It first started off us just doing acoustic shows.
I think I watched that.
Yeah, you've watched a couple of the live streams I did for the there. on a boat which we don't have access to anymore, which is no one's fault.
No.
Yeah, I know.
That
I
was
know.
a beautiful place.
It was a very beautiful place. It was our favorite place as well. It was such a good place.
Man.
But we don't have it anymore. We don't have access to it, and now we're basically on this hunt to like find somewhere, maybe hopefully in the local area where we can like set up camp and do gigs on a like almost hopefully more than once monthly event. So yeah, but we started off doing acoustic events, and we did about 19 of them. Which is a lot. It's a lot. We were doing like 2 a month.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, and we got like we would have some really bad ones. Where we would have like 3 people turn up. But then we would have like ones where we have like 50 people turn up. And we started having like like regulars coming to it as well, which was really good. So yeah, but then because I had started growing more and more knowledgeable what I'm doing, because up until I met Tom, I had no knowledge of music. I had no knowledge of the industry. I had literally nothing. I knew fuck all. Because of him and because of his knowledge he's given to me, and because of what I've learned, I have more of a knowing of what I'm doing. And what I want to do now, because you know how I was talking about my existential crisis with photography, it's because of Matchstick I'm having this existential crisis, because I enjoy doing Matchstick so much, and I enjoy in the position I am with it so much that I would gladly say right now I'd want to do it for a career.
Honestly, and I really hope you don't take this the wrong way about your past journey with photography, but to be fair, the music industry booms a lot quicker, bigger, and faster than I've actually ever seen out of photography.
Oh yeah, I agree. No, don't get me wrong. I agree. That's why I was so close to quitting, dude. Because I'm fully aware of that fact. And like I was when I said to you, like, it's very hard to get into the industry of photography. But I'm like, it hasn't been easy getting into the industry of music. Like, you don't just like, start day one and suddenly you're doing gigs in the O2 Arena or whatever. It's a long haul, but after a year, that's more than a year now. It's like, what day is it? No, what day is it? What date is it? It's like, a year and a month. A year and a month I've been doing that.
Is the O2 Arena like the same equivalency as Madison Square Garden? Because Madison Square Garden, I mean, it's a really popular venue.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. Okay. But there's smaller O2. There's like hang on. Google is my friend. Google is my.
I'm kind of glad I asked you that question, because right when you said O2 Arena, I knew what arena that was, but I was really curious if it was like the same equivalency.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. It is.
Okay.
It is. It's a big, really big one. Like it's one of those things where it's really big, and it has loads of like supermarkets in it, and there's smaller rooms as well where other people do stuff. But yeah, it's essentially Madison Square Garden. Yeah, but we're less. It's like it's more of a modern one rather than an old one.
Well, it's like what you said before. I mean, you don't necessarily or essentially make it to O2 right away. And then I thought to myself, there's an old saying that goes, once you make it at the Garden, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah,
and that's the saying over here. And there's been a lot of pop.
But like, how I mentioned we were doing a gig for a student night for the at the Coda. That's a big step for us. It's a big event. It's gonna be a big event. We're gonna have four bands on, and it's gonna be for students, and it's gonna be fucking great. And I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing.
Have you ever booked a show before?
Huh?
Have you ever booked a show before?
Yeah.
How many?
Huh?
How? Oh, I was getting ready to take a drink too, and it spilled on me a little bit. How many of them have you booked?
I have been able to manage to book 2 events.
Ooh.
So yeah, the first one was a punk rock event, which was on the boat. Which was a disaster in some cases because I was doing it for the first time and there was so much we didn't know at all.
You gotta learn. You gotta learn.
Yeah, you gotta learn. And then the other one was last Sunday. We did a heavy metal gig. There was a lot that went wrong with that as well.
Can we get an applause for Kyle right now? Just very big hand for Kyle. I'm proud of you.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing, dude. And it's just like but I'm comfortable in it. I'm comfortable like being telling people what to do.
Do this or you're fired.
Apparently, I've heard that people don't like it when I boss them around because I'm not the boss, but I'm like, fuck it, do it or don't do it at all.
But I like that mindset too because it's like, if you really want to advance, I mean, you really got to make yourself known.
Yeah. Like we had 5 bands on that night. We had 2 of them were like the biggest in Colchester, in the local area, heavy metal bands.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good. They are really good. Orgy Ripper and I the Illusionist. If you're listening to this and you don't know them, I would highly suggest you check them out. Really good people. Shout out to the lead singer of I the Illusionist, Will, who is an absolute babe. And also shout out to Tom, who is the lead singer of Orgy Ripper. And then the other bands we had on was political hesitation. So shout out to Connor,
Mm-hmm.
and his band of Merry Men. And then we had Authority Complex, which is then a shout out to Sanders and obviously Megillah, who also helped with the event so much. I would not have been able to do it without Megillah. But last but not least, a big thank you to Coke and Jade. I'm not sure the other guy's name was. But yeah, we had a really, really good event. Actually, so I wanted to thank on this thing. I wanted to thank Megillah, Mick and Mickey. So Megillah, he's from Lithuania, and the dude is a fucking wizard. Do you know what a PA? Do you know what a PA system is, John?
A PS system?
A PA system.
PA system. I've heard of that before.
It's essentially it's what if you go to like a gig or like if you're at a disco or something you obviously frequent a lot. Are you
talking about the little speaker that's like up at the corner where someone like hits a microphone, speaks through it, and everyone can hear through that speaker? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes and no. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Okay, because we had one in school like that once. It was very annoying.
But yeah.
Did I annoy you with that?
Huh?
Did I annoy you with that?
No, sorry, I was distracted. I got distracted.
Oh, okay.
But no, sorry. I was in another world. But no, a PA system is it's essentially you can obviously connect to speakers, but you obviously be able to use a mic, and it connects so you can like listen to all the other instruments as well. So basically,
right now googling it.
Huh?
I'm right now googling it just so I could get a good image. So
what Megillah did on that night, we from around 1:00 to 7, which seems like a lot, but he made from scratch from from equipment from a music room and equipment that we had brought the day beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
He had made a PA system.
Yeah, I've definitely seen these when there was like a special event going on in the gymnasium. They would have them hooked up on a stand, and they would have it turned up at the loudest volume possible just for people to hear.
Yeah. But yeah, he made a PA system, which is like a feat that's like, if someone told me make a PA system, I'd be like, what? I don't know.
How in the world do you make one from scratch? Like, just looking at these, how?
McGill is a fucking wizard, okay? Like, he's I'm gonna tell him I've been tooting his horn on this, but hopefully he listens to it. But essentially, he has probably one of the most more experience in music than I do, or Tom does. My friend Tom does. Have you heard of a band called Carnifex?
Carna?
Carnifex.
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 They're like death metal, I think.
No.
But
I have not.
You have not. Basically, they're a really big band, and essentially, he was able to book them into like a shitty pub. And that's a big band. Like they have. Trust me, I'm seeing how many likes they have on Facebook now. What?
I think it's funny whenever there's like no noise going on, and like two other people are trying to figure out what's going on here, and they're just sitting there going, okay, there's like no noise going on. Do we make any noise or what?
They have 587,000 likes.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, they're like a really, really big band. So yeah, I'm just catching my girlfriend's dog. There you go. So yeah, they're a really big band, and he was able to book them to do like just a pub bar gig, which is really, really like that. When he told me that, I was like, what? How the fuck did you do that? But he also was able to do a death metal gig at the Lithuanian presidential estate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the White House, essentially, but in Lithuania.
Well, speaking about bands, I do want to go ahead and mention this here real quick.
Jon is in a band.
No. For anyone who is a Barry Tomorrow fan, I know I am because I have every album they've produced. Wait, Kyle, are you a fan of them?
I am not.
Have you ever heard of them?
I have, yes.
Okay. I love Jason Cameron, by the way. Jason, if you ever listen to this podcast, which I highly doubt it, but if you do, I would love to have you and Danny on here. It's a far chance, but if you boys can ever make it on here, you'll be the first band I've ever had on a podcast. But anyway, there was this thing on Instagram where Jason Cameron, the clean vocalist, and I think lead guitarist too, I could be wrong, maybe rhythm guitar, was doing an Ask Me Anything on Instagram. And basically, one fan had asked 2020 new album mate. And he says in French, yes, yes. And the other question was, how many songs on the forthcoming album? More than 10, which I'm super stoked. And then the next one was, what do you think about new Tool album? He says, very inspirational. Our next single will be 8 minutes long. Cameron, don't do this to me. Like,
that's nothing. 8 minutes is nothing.
Okay, no, 8 minutes to me is really long.
Bro, that's nothing. That's
It's long
absolutely
to
nothing.
me, but
Nah, dude.
none.
That's like
But but
yeah, that's like
but
that's
nonetheless,
medium. That's
but
medium. That's
none.
like
But nonetheless, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to love it because
I'm gonna send you a song that is 18 minutes long and is incredible.
how long was no who done it? I think Michael Jackson did something that was like really long.
I have absolutely no idea.
I can't remember. I heard about it and I never bothered to listen to it. Um I mean, not saying that he's a horrible musician from his time before he passed on. By the way, if you were living under a rock and you didn't know it, yeah, he's gone. Um, way to be abrupt. But yeah, I'm just I'm really excited to know that there's a lot of new albums coming out next year. There was one from a band that I had always listened to, and for some reason I just did not care to listen to their latest album. Not saying it was horrible, I just didn't like the direction it went. Which
Well,
it's called Atonement by Killswitch
I'm fro-
Engage.
oh, I don't listen to Killswitch.
And here's the thing: the one song I liked was Unleashed because it told a really good story. However, for me, it's really sad when fans just expect a band to remain in their the stage that they're at, like staying with their roots rather than evolving. Now, if they don't feel comfortable with evolving, that's fine. I mean, they still have a lot of music I can listen to that they did evolve in. But my question for you, Kyle, is like, did you ever like hate it when a band evolved their music, or did you like it when they did
I've actually
evolve?
had that. I've had that recently,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a bit different. So basically, I know I've mentioned it to you beforehand, but my favorite band of all, one of my favorite bands is Royal Public.
I've heard of
Um,
them. Yeah.
yeah, they played it download a couple of times, like 3 or 4 times now. Um, and they have such a varying different styles between each one of their albums. They have 4 albums out,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one they start off, it's like it's Swedish punk rock,
Oh,
and the
okay.
second one is more it's more like I'd say hard rock,
Mm-hmm.
and then the third one is more how do I describe the third one? I'd say it's more alternative, some influences of punk. There's some grunge in it as well, but it's also rock. There's a lot of stuff. And then the fourth one, they completely flip it on its fucking side, and it's completely different. And I was so hyped for it, dude. I was so hyped for that album. I waited 2 years for that album to come out, and it was different, so different. Um, and at first I was just like, "Am I gonna like this album?" And like when it first came out, when I first listened to it, I was like, I felt disappointed. I was like, "Fuck, this is it."
Really?
And then I listened to like the album. Like I said to my girlfriend, I was like, "I'm gonna listen to this album, just this album for a week." And by the end of it, if I don't like it, then I will never like it. But if I like it, then it's good. And now I like the album. And the reason why is because now I listen, I pay attention to the lyrics and basically what they were trying to say. Because there's one song in the album. The album's called Club Majesty, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering. Um, and there's one song in it, and it basically explains to the fan base that they are now comfortable in what they're doing, because they've always been open by the fact that their record label in the past would force them to be something they're not. Um, But now you could there's more, there's definitely a lot more passion and soul in the music now. And I really like the album. There's a lot of like most albums they'll be like that you in all like in all bands and whatnot. There's a couple there'll always be unless it's the perfect album, like there'll be a couple of songs be like meh. So I have a couple of songs on that album that are a bit like meh. But other than they're what British people call a bop. So yeah, it's I've had that definitely for sure. And it's just like I find it also a lot because I'm into like 70s punk rock. I like 70s punk rock, and I've been getting into 80s hardcore punk. But like I'd listen to 70s bands, like a lot of 70s bands, and you listen to them how they are now, they're still playing, and they're vastly different. You're like, oh, okay, this is a sad time. But in some cases, like the band 999, who started in I think it was 1974, and are still like they're still gigging now. They haven't changed at all basically, which is really good. But yeah, that was the example that I would say I'd have.
For myself, when it comes to like evolution in music, there's few bands I can think of off of the top of my mind that comes to it. Number one, I just mentioned about them not too long ago, Bury Tomorrow. They've definitely evolved. Oh wow, my software just did a glitch. Like, no lie.
A good glitch or a bad glitch?
It went like distorted white, and it was the timer was still going on too. I'm like, okay. Anyway, what was it? Bury Tomorrow. I've listened to their very first EP, to their latest album, and I still love it. All That Remains, they have evolved tremendously. Some fans do not like it because they wish Phil would go back to being like super pissed off and angry. And he recently did that with their latest album, Victim of the New Disease. And the first song to it is, I'm not going to say the full thing because I'm a PG kind of guy, but it's called F Love. And he's going really hardcore on that one because of his experience with relationships and basically his first marriage, I think. Then he goes on with Everything's Wrong, which still talks about his marriage, thinking that he had done something wrong, but he wasn't sure. Blood I Spill, he really didn't care anymore on how he felt with certain things in life. Basically, I'm in the darkest place I'm in right now, and if you try to come and be in my life, you're going to be in there too. I mean, he had a lot of angry ones, and he had some that weren't so angry. Another band, Slipknot. They've definitely changed over the years. Some people still don't like the way they sound because they're not aggressive anymore. I remember Corey.
Actually, that's in punk rock you get that a lot.
Really?
Because of the almost angry nature of the music in most cases. Like you get it with Bad Religion and NoFX, who are like major skateboard hardcore punk bands from the like 80s, like 90s and whatnot. A lot of fans complain that they're just not what they used to be and whatnot, and that's only because the people, the band members, that they themselves are now less angry, and like there's less soul in what their vocals are, less soul in it, and I find a lot of people complain about it, which is it's kind of understandable, like for the bands, not because growing old and shit, it's just like become less angry and whatnot.
Yeah, less grumpy.
But yeah, less grumpy and stuff. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but like, my thing is to like, if these bands no longer like no longer um if these bands no longer are angry or you don't relate to anymore, find new bands.
Yeah.
Find new bands. Support your local scene.
Like when it came to Slipknot, I remember Sean Cran mentioned something about how fans would complain about them no longer being angry. And he had mentioned, he said, let me just go ahead and make a disclaimer about this. Back then, yes, we were angry. We were upset because of the way the music industry turned out. We're still not happy with the way the music industry turned out. However, we're no longer the pissed off young teenage angst people that we once were when we were really, really young. We're now more focused on creating art. If it's not art, we're not doing it. And he said it would be a bit of a hypocritical statement that he would mention because, like, they had released All Hope Is Gone, and he hates that album with a passion. He does not like that album one bit. However, they released it anyway. He said it wasn't for the money, but it was just for the art. We wanted to do it for the art. And he says, like, he's not even worried about the money anymore. Like, honestly, he's doing really good for himself. And he says that they can stop anytime they want to. But they don't because they enjoy putting smiles on people's faces. Even if it's not like old school music that they used to perform anymore. He's still going to do it. But he could quit if he wanted to, but he hasn't. By the way, did you hear Corey Taylor got married?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
I'm so happy for him.
Yeah. Good for him.
The enthusiasm just seeping out of you.
Bro, like, as of late, my music taste has changed drastically.
So has mine, honestly. I've been listening to music I never thought I would listen to. I've been listening, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, called Paris.
Yes, I've heard of them, yes.
I love them. I do. Like, when I found, like, to me, the lead singer to it, she is incredibly attractive. And then when I found out that, I think she's
a lesbian.
Yeah, like, bisexual or lesbian, one of the two. I'm like, oh. But still, they make such great music. I love them. I do. Honestly love them. Great episode, by the way.
But yeah, great episode.
Yeah.
My music taste right now is, like I said, I've got into 70s punk rock, and I'm like looking into like British 70s punk rock, really obscure stuff. Really enjoying it. Then also, as just recently, I've been getting more into like American punk rock with the stuff like the hardcore scene, which is like some really obscure stuff. Like I've been getting to Nardcore as well.
Nardcore.
Nardcore. It's essentially the predecessor to skater punk.
I don't know why, but I just thought of a genre that I never thought I would have ever heard until, what was his name? Jared Dines had mentioned, and he's like, yes, this is an actual genre. Porno grind or porno.
Yeah, porno grind. Yeah, porno grind.
I heard
that's like that you're in. Oh, dude, there's so many like. I find it funny how many people don't realize just how many like subgenres, like how fucking niche a genre can get.
Well, he was doing a little thing to mock it, and he had like a little subtitle underneath of it saying, "Yes, this genre actually is a thing."
Yeah, porno grind is a good there's like D beat as well. I'm not sure if you know what that is.
What was it?
D beat.
D beat. Like drum beat? Or
no, it's just called D beat.
I wonder why it's called D beat.
It's it's varying on crust punk, but like it's yeah, it's a subgenre of punk rock.
Huh.
And yeah, there's a lot of punk rock subgenres that people I feel like unaware of, and one of my uh major pet peeves is when people like I go to them, oh, what do you think punk rock is? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm thinking like Blink 182, Your Spring, or who else, or Sex Pistols. And I'm like, no, none of them are punk rock. Fuck you, and the horse you rode on, none of those are punk rock. Um, and yeah, like Blink 182 are pop punk. They had one punk rock album just from then, just went to shit. Uh, Offspring are pop punk, and Sex Pistols were a constructed band. It was based. They were basically the first boy band because they were used to sell a clothing line.
Oh.
Yeah, they used to sell a clothing line, and the lead singer Johnny Rotten, or what the fuck his name is now, he's actually a cunt.
Did he take the clothing line with him?
No. He basically he now he's gone like completely. He likes Trump, and he's like he's far right. He's not far right, but he's on the right wing of stuff now. So the complete opposite to when he was younger, and he's basically just sold out completely. And yeah, he's generally a dick.
I think we talked about that, like, when it came to the first episode with you. I think we did talk about that a little bit, and I do recall when you, I think it was before or during the podcast. No, I asked you before. I said, how do you feel about talking about politics? And you're like, are you sure that's a can of worms you want to open? I'm like, let's do it for the content. but nowadays, I do everything I can to steer away from politics, because like back then I thought, and this was like my mind to it. Don't take it wrong, but like I thought everyone on one side was completely wrong, and then I can't remember what it was, but I watched something, and then I'm like, what if all sides are just wrong? What if they're wrong? Like, I hate politics now. I can't stand it. It's not even good for my health anymore. So I like, whenever someone's like talking about Trump or whoever it is, I'm like, there's a basket of cats like down the road. You just want to grab them, bring them over here, just love on them, pet on them for a little bit, take the edge right off. And they're like, but I want to get angry about this. I don't care about getting angry. Let's have a slice of pizza or something. I don't care. Are you still into politics?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
I can't do it anymore.
The ironic thing is like I'm probably I strongly keep up to date with American politics.
I don't know. I don't know if you've paid attention before, like when I had posted on Facebook when I said I'm just done with it. I can't.
But yeah, like American politics, British politics, it's all fucked. But like I stand where I stand.
We sometimes hear about British politics over here.
What do you hear?
Usually it's about Theresa May.
She's no longer the Prime Minister.
Well, that was what it was at the time. Was just like whenever someone would talk about like overseas politics, they would normally talk about Theresa May, and I'm like, thumbs up, I guess. I mean, you want to finger paint? But like, I'm not into it as what I once was anymore. It's really caused me some problems with my health. It's also what had me super depressed as well back then. But yeah, I think my mom brought up like a picture or something. It was like a naked figurine of Donald Trump. It didn't show like I don't think it showed any genitalia though. But when I looked at it, she's like, "This is so disgusting. Why would they do this to him?" I'm like, I don't know. I said, you know, to be honest with you, people will get pissed off over the smallest little thing in the world. I don't care about it anymore. And she's like, oh, no, yeah. I said, I just don't care about it anymore. And she's like, okay. I've been asked too, like, how do I feel about Donald Trump now? I'll give you a little example of how I feel about him. Open up a pizza box. The world's burning. Right between that window glass you're looking out, you're just going, you know, this is really good pizza. And you just don't care. Just don't care.
A lot of problems we've been having as of late is we've been having a lot of environmental protests in London.
I've heard about that.
And there's so many boomers and zoomers been like, why are you doing this? I want to go to work. And like completely like just missing the point of why these people are doing what they're doing. And they're just being so just a lot of people just unwilling to just know. They just don't realize that what these people are trying to do is make a stand, make a message. And yeah, what else should we talk about? What else can we talk about?
Well, it's like with one thing I do want to bring up here too, which I kind of disagree on, is this whole climate change protesting thing. In my opinion, I don't necessarily believe or agree with what Greta Thunberg has stated. Because I don't think she realizes, or some people realize, how the Earth works. It's a bit of a scientific fact that yes, the Earth tilts on an axis. Yes, not the sun, but the Earth does get a little closer to the sun. Yes, the flares do sometimes, come near the sun, near the near the Earth every so often. And yes, ice glaciers do melt. Is it because of what we're doing? No, not really. I mean, yeah, when we're driving like cars that have gas in it, yeah, it doesn't really help with the air at all. But it's not the main cause to ice glaciers melting. The Earth tilts at an axis, gets more heat traction. What are you going to do? Say, Earth, stop tilting or move to Mars? I mean, it's hotter on Mars, though. A little bit. It's also hotter on Venus. So what are you going to do? I just don't agree with their standards. But, I mean, how do you feel about it?
I honestly think they're right. They're like, the rebellion, whatever called, they are in their full right to protest what they're doing, because in truth, there's so much not being done that should be done. And you're right, yes, in it, scientifically, yes, this happens a lot, but we as a species have added to the drastic decline of it.
I can agree with that.
That's the thing that they're trying to get rid of. They're trying to get rid of the drastic decline that we have added. To it.
I can agree with that.
And I think a lot of it is what happens is, like with Greta Thunberg, for example, like she got so much shit from people who just were fucking uneducated, like people who generally had no idea what the fuck they were saying, and you knew full well this person had no idea what they were saying, but they were taking the mick out of them, for stupid fucking reasons, and
Like,
they just had no idea,
like,
and they were attacking a child, a literal child,
like,
and
like
but they just don't.
for myself, I wouldn't attack Greta at all. Yeah, she believes in what she believes in. That's completely fine. She can take a stand on that if she wants to. But I disagree with the fact on how people would handle the situation. If you're going to attack a 16-year-old girl, like, come on, seriously? It's stupid. Like, why would you attack her? If you don't agree with what she's saying, take matters into your own hand. Like, let her know. Say, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I can respect it. Yeah. I respect what she's doing. I don't agree with it.
Yep. It's just, and it's like people just brushing off what what she's trying to say completely and just insulting her.
Yeah, which is really, it's rude.
It is indeed, my dude.
Like, come on, she's a kid. She's taking so much time off of school just to do this kind of stuff. And like I said, I don't agree with like some things that she talks about. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that doesn't mean that I won't respect it.
Yeah.
Because I do. I respect her stance. Doesn't mean that I'll agree with it. I mean, there's there's been some times where I've agreed with Kyle here and disagreed with Kyle here, but I always respect his stance on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's what friends do, and it's what society should do. Is like just if you don't agree with it, that's all right. Respect the idea. It's like, and I really try to steer away from this part 2 here, but I'm going to use it as an example. There's times where people don't agree with, certain beliefs that other people believe in. That's A-okay, as long as you respect it. Do I respect vegans' belief in what they do? Of course. Do I agree with it? No. I don't, but it doesn't mean that I shouldn't respect it. I don't know if you heard about this here lately, Kyle, about someone had replaced a vegan burger with actual meat, and the vegan
and then they complained, and then they had a barbecue right outside the person's house.
Yeah, like
that's going way too far.
That's complete disrespect. Like if I had a friend who was 100% committed into veganism and they didn't want to eat that meat, I'm not going to serve them meat. I'm just going to say, okay, tell me what you want. I'll make it a certain way for you and then serve it to you that way. I'll just have this to myself. And hopefully they'll be okay with that. But switching a vegan burger to actual burger just because you think it's funny, it's really not funny at all. That's like literally a vegan is putting more trust into people when it comes to being served than we are when it comes to being served, because they don't want to be served like actual meat. And when you switch their vegan burger out with actual meat, you basically betray their trust.
Indeed, my dude.
It's vindictive.
Indeed.
It's completely wrong, but sometimes the world doesn't stop spinning until it stops spinning. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm tired, don't worry. I shouldn't be tired because I'm sleeping all day, but yeah.
By the time I wake up, I'm tired. Like,
I relate to that on a spiritual level.
I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this thing here. and I've been waiting to do an episode on it, but you know what? Screw it. Let's go ahead and do it anyway. I was going to say something, and then I just completely drew a blank here. iPhones. Let's talk about that here for a second. I have a little complaint about this, too.
Oh?
Yeah. And yes, I am an Apple user. I do have 2 Apple products. And I like them very much. I do. However, what I don't like is the fact that whenever Apple releases an iPhone or a Mac or whatever the product is, I never understand why they have to sell it at a price to where it's like way past rental, like selling it past renting out a house or buying a mortgage. They have to sell it that high. I don't know if you're getting where I'm getting at with this, Kyle, but
Well, I have a Samsung, so I don't have that problem.
well, how much did yours cost? Your phone?
What do you mean?
How much did your phone cost? Or are you doing like monthly on it?
Yeah, it's like a monthly thing.
Oh, okay. Some people, yeah, they do monthly.
Yeah. I can't remember how much I had to pay first because I've had this. I need to get. I need to go to Tesco's. I need to get upgrade. But
it sounds like you have something that's like 500-600 pounds, maybe.
I have a Samsung Galaxy Edge S. Samsung Galaxy. That's what I am. Samsung Galaxy S7.
Sounds like something really expensive.
7 Edge 2, I think it's called.
Honestly, I have an iPhone 6. Does it still work? You betcha it does. Do I have any problem with it? No.
A lot.
Oh, I'm so lucky that I don't say a lot. Well, there's only one problem I have with it. Like, whenever I go to listen to music, like it's doing right now, I tap on the icon, it loads, and then it, kind of like escapes out of it, and then I tap it one more time, and then it loads up. It does this every single day. Do I like it? No. However, it's not like it completely burns up my battery. Speaking of, actually not even speaking about this stuff here. Do you recall how long our episode was when we first did one?
3 hours?
Do I?
Was it 3 hours?
No.
How long was it?
2 hours 38 minutes.
Oh, and we are on. Well,
we are coming on almost
to 2 hours
almost
and 18 minutes. So it would have been probably about.
Oh no!
1 hour. One's bit.
We're almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
1 hour 57 minutes. I don't know if I ever told you this, but Dom and I actually beat that record.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
How long did you get to?
3 hours 7
Fuck,
minutes.
bro!
Yeah,
what the fuck were you talking about?
He was doing most of the talking.
Sounds like Dom.
He was just talking about family, really. He honestly said that we could have gone longer. To be honest with you, by the time
I mentioned? Probably not, because I'm unloved.
I think once, but it was just basically talking about like what record we broke.
Oh, okay.
On something, and I looked down and I'm like, we're at this time limit here, and he's like, well, what do you want to reach? I'm like, let's break it. And then I forgot to look at it again. We were like 3 hours and some odd minutes. I'm like, oh crap. And by the time we cut it off, I was trying to upload it to Anchor.
Yeah.
And Anchor said that it was...
It was too long?
No. It said the file was just 2 sizes too big.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I wasn't going to trim anything off. And I'm like, you know what?
You should have done it from part 1 and 2 then.
I wasn't going to do that. So what I did was I went to go convert it. And after I converted to MP3, I went over to iTunes and I lowered something. I can't remember what I lowered, but I lowered something out of it. And then it shaved off, I think, 4 sizes. I didn't cut the time down though, but it shaved off 4 sizes. And I went on ahead and uploaded it. It was under 2 sizes by that time. So when I went to do that, I'm like, okay, this is good. I like it. So yeah, when I uploaded it, I told Dom, I'm like, yeah, it's uploaded. He's like, really? Yeah, it's uploaded. It's all good. I was like, did you have any problem? Yeah, I did. I had problems uploading it. And he's like,
I relate to that so much.
And he's like, what happened? I said, it was 2 sizes too big. And he's like, and what'd you do? I had to dim it down 4 sizes. So it was 2 sizes under the maximum capacity, which was good. And after it loaded, I gotta admit the episode did really well. I did tell him that I do want to have him back eventually, which I actually did.
You should get the 2 of us on.
Do what?
You get the 2 of us on.
Yeah, I really should. That would be loads of fun.
Because I've been friends with him for about five years now. Going on 6 years.
I did an episode with him with Dane. So that would be the episode before this. No? Yeah, before this one. And the only reason why I did that was because we were looking for something to do. I just wanted to get an episode in. However, I honestly couldn't remember about the thing that he was wanting to talk about that would extend the time longer. But next time, if he does get on here, I really would like for him to do that. But however, yeah, he was definitely the longest episode I've had. The episode will be posted up. I do have a number 20 that I still have, and I will have to make a cold opening on that one by saying, yeah, this was supposed to be like the final season. However, this is going to be the beginning opening to like season 2. And
I've just realized we should talk about something. Sorry to interrupt. We should talk about something that's very topical right now.
That would be
2K20.
That's a touchy one.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, it's not even touchy for like valid reasons.
Well, I say, as I move my microphone, I'm trying to like look into a different area while I'm talking. As much as I liked the games back then, yeah, I think, I don't know if there's an echo. Probably is. I'm gonna move him back over here now. I seen the way that the quality is now, and I'm thinking to myself, what were they thinking?
Well, do you know what happened?
Yes, there is such a huge bug in it. There's a huge bug in the game, and it's affected everyone.
Yeah.
And like,
it's this is the first time. Well, I had WWE 13.
Yeah.
So I've basically had every single wrestling game from WWE 13
Mm-hmm.
to 2K19.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time since then that I actively am glad I'm not buying a wrestling game
I
and won't buy a wrestling game.
I was asked a while back too if I was ever going to get 2K, uh, or what is it, 2K20 or whatever it is. No, I didn't think about it when they first made the announcement. I haven't thought about it now, and to be honest with you, I'm glad I wasn't one that spent. I heard someone spent like over 140 some odd dollars on the whole package deal. You get the game, you get this and that, and they're like, why? And I'm thinking to myself, it's probably a good thing that I didn't go that direction, far and beyond to really buy that product. I've seen how it looks now. And to be honest with you, some people were like, we were wanting this that was promised to us, wanting that was promised to us. And yet WWE failed to do that. I'm like, it's not my fault. Not my fault you guys went that way. Because honestly, I would have been fine with the game and that's it. Some people like going further than that. Don't know why. Maybe it's just nostalgia for them. I don't know. I do know Edge did say that he was going to be opening up a P.O. box for a specific reason.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and I honestly did. What I've seen from the game is in-game glitches, character. You don't even get title creation anymore. Character creation glitches. It's all round. It's fucked. It's probably one of the most fucked games they've ever had. Like 2K19 wasn't perfect. Like the reversals in it were awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it a lot, and it was a good game. Like objectively a good game, but yeah, they need to get. Apparently, Ukes are making their own wrestling game, which isn't it has anything to do with WWE. So maybe we can get a Ukes AEW game. So that'd be cool.
Who funded THQ in the first place?
I have absolutely no idea.
Because I know probably Ukes or somebody, because somebody funded THQ, which led them into making WWE games. And then all of a sudden, THQ went out of business. And I'm like, why did they go out of business? I don't think they've ever revealed why they went out of business. They're just no longer in business.
Yeah, they're under something new name apparently.
Yeah, so. I heard about that. But like, yeah, I heard something about AEW is creating something.
Yeah, apparently for most of the shows, they've been scanned.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all the like for when it was All Out, All In, or whatever pay-per-views they had when they first started, they got scanned.
Heard MJF was the first one that got scanned.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he hates being called that name.
He hates being called MJF?
Yeah. He says, why? He says, if you're not MJF, don't call me MJF. And if you're not MJF, you call me Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I'm like, oh, the ego off this guy.
I love MJF.
I think his character's brilliant.
What's your thoughts on AEW? Have you seen much of it?
No. And I will tell you why. To me, and this is my opinion, so don't take it literal, I think there's just way too many marquee fans out there. And I think that AEW was really built just to please marquee fans. It was really built to please the nostalgia of what pro wrestling used to be, and they wanted to make it greater. Which, by the way, the latter part that I just mentioned, I have no problem with that whatsoever. What I do have a problem with is the way that they're trying to get people that really cater into being a mark nowadays. Like, I'm not one to really like go like when the announcer says something on like, oh, the following contest is scheduled for one fall, and the crowd's like, one fall. I don't care for that. I mean, if that's one way for them to, you know, have a fun time, I mean, go for it. I just don't care for it. I really love Maxwell Jacob Freeman. I really think that his character really progresses what a heel should be. And even when he's in interviews, 100% heel. And I love it. There was one interview he was not a heel on. Came close, though, but he got out of it because he was talking about who he really was. And I had no idea he's younger than me. He's I think, a year or 2 years older than you, though.
I have no idea, bro.
He's 23.
Oh, okay.
And when I looked at him, I'm like, really? You're 23? Like, I don't know about you. To me, he looks older than 23.
I put him about middle age.
I thought he was maybe 25, 26. At best. But 23, I'm like, whoa. That's a bit young. Honestly, nowadays, that's how wrestling starts out. You start out really young. You want to build up your momentum, but to me, I just don't really care so much for AEW, though. Like, I've said this before. I don't care for Chris Jericho's character. I respect the man because he has put himself out there far and beyond to make himself known. Do I care about the way that, you know, he yells at the top of his lungs? No, not at all. And that's why I just tuned out from it. Why I didn't pay attention to AEW, and it's because of the way that he just yells. I don't like it, and that's why I just tuned away from it.
Ever.
He's too much for me. He really is. He's too much for me. Like, honestly, I'd say heel wise between Jericho and Maxwell, I would say the better heel has to be Maxwell, because he doesn't please the fans with what they want. The way that
Who
huh?
Who are you talking about now?
I'm talking about Maxwell. He doesn't please the fans with what they want. He does what he wants, and that's what he does. With Jericho, he makes himself out a bit of a meme. And I don't really care about that when it comes to heels. If you make yourself a bit of a meme, to me that's a bit of a joke, and why should I pay attention to that?
Yeah, but okay, so like my objection to that is that it's not until you pay attention that's like the first layer of his character. There are multiple layers to his character that you like. If you watched his I suggest you watch the clip of the latest episode of AEW with Cody Rhodes and him, because they're facing the next AEW pay-per-view.
Full Gear.
Yeah, Full Gear. There's his character is like there's two bases to it, and it's good. It's unique to him. But I feel like he's the only wrestler that now could pull it off. What he does, he's the only one who could like pull it off successfully and do it well. And I think they made a really good choice by making him the champion, because otherwise it would just go flat. Because no one know who like Kenny Omega is, or no one would know who Hangman Page is. You know, like if they put it on Cody straight away, people would lose their shit and probably start watching. But Chris Jericho is arguably one of the greatest of all times, and him continue being at the age he is and still wrestling, and is able to associate himself with a group of people who are really talented, wrestling wise, and then to keep them relevant and in the limelight is really like it's just good, dude. Like I'd suggest just watching, just like sitting down and actually watching it would really help see. Because the reason why I asked you what you thought AEW is, to me, I don't watch much wrestling anymore. I probably watch when I want to WWE or like WWE pay-per-views, and that's very rarely as well. I occasionally watch NPW and JPW, but not as much as I used to. But in all honesty, like AEW is refreshing to watch, dude. Really refreshing. Right now, a lot of people are having loads of complaints because they're having loads of tag matches, but they seem to forget they're having a tag match tournament.
Yeah, I saw memes about that too. It's like AEW tag match, another tag match, another tag match. And I thought to myself at first, maybe they're just ripping into like AEW just because they wanted to, but I had no idea that they were doing the tag tournament.
But yeah, they're doing a tag team tournament, and yeah, the only thing that really sucks right now is their women's division. But other than that, it's good, dude. It's good. I'm like a fan of it. Like I actively look forward to it each week.
There's actually something I want to ask you.
Yeah.
And I think there will be reruns of AEW on Xfinity sometime. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. This is kind of switching the topic a little bit because I'm kind of curious about this, and I've never asked anyone this kind of question on the podcast before, even on the old one. Have you ever like done like any sort of what's the term I'm looking for, like paranormal hunting, like investigation, like going to an abandoned place and like just seeing if you could find something there, and then you hear like a thud and you think someone's there, like that kind of thing?
No, but I've had no, not really. No, I have not.
Because I've been watching a YouTube channel which I really enjoy a lot. They never exaggerate anything, because like what they hear is what they hear. Called TFIL. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
What's it called?
TFIL. It's an acronym.
Yeah, never heard of it.
It's called the F It List. Well, I'm using the cleaner term, the F It List. But there's one episode that they released, and they waited 2 months to release it too, because it dealt with some illegal activity. And what I mean by illegal activity is in the form of I guess there's no lighter way to put murder. It dealt with that. And then there were some parts in it where the editor, or the guy who runs it, Elliot, is his name Elliot? I can't remember. He basically censored certain parts, and there's a little tagline on there where it says, "I censor certain parts on here on purpose." And he had censored something where he shined a flashlight at, and I'm like, what is that? And he wouldn't say what it was. And at the end of the video, he had said that there were it was actually in the video too, they were being chased by someone that lived there, and they were yelling at the guys that were just exploring, saying there's no way out, and they were really wanting to do them a lot of harm. And at the end of the video, it said that the reason why that it took us so long to release this video was because there was most of the parts that were blurred out had illicit activity on there. They found, I think, a chicken's head cut off, some picture of a little girl. All this was down underground underneath of a cave from a house. And they had contacted the authorities about it, and then they were finally told that they could upload the video. When they did, I was thinking to myself, geez, like, that's scary. And they were just going there to find out some paranormal things, and then come to find out there was this guy that came up to them. Later on, he revealed that his name was Jasper, except the camera never revealed his face because it was like pointed down from neck down to his waistline area. And he had an actual shotgun with him. And he told the guys that were filming there, he said, you guys are extremely lucky because if you notice, there's a sign at the gate that says trespassers will be shot dead on sight. And you guys got really lucky. And they asked, well, okay, since we're already here and we're just doing a video for YouTube, would you mind if we just continue doing it? Or do you just want us to go ahead and leave? And he said, I don't mind you all doing it, but if you all just so happen to steal one little thing, even a rock, off this land, I will find out about it. And he left them alone. And about maybe 30 minutes later, they were being invaded by some woman and a grown man who apparently lived there with no electricity, just telling them there's no escape. You got to come out at some point. And then the two people eventually broke through a barricade that the group had set up themselves and were coming up the steps, and the guys that were filming felt very threatened and they were trying to leave. Matter of fact, I'll send you the video on Skype and let you see it for yourself. It's really good heart thriller. And when I mean heart thriller, your heart will be literally pumping while you're watching it. And it's that good, it's that scary, and I love it. Honestly, it's a lot better than a horror film I've ever seen. So, yeah, it's one of those things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We honestly, we're almost 2 hours 30 minutes, and we're actually 2 hours 22 minutes in. I was actually, I contacted somebody about this just about a couple days ago too. Don't know if he's going to be up for it or not, but I will say that I had a really great time on this episode with you. Honestly, I didn't think we would have a lot to talk about. I really didn't. Did you?
To be honest, we haven't spoken ages, so I guess it was expected of us to talk about a lot.
Maybe. I mean, there's still a lot of things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
However,
I have to eat.
I really want to put this up today.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take too much time.
Okay, right. Before we go,
yeah,
I need to plug some shit.
Oh, okay? Yeah, go for it. It's all you.
Right. So, for those who managed to make it all through to the end of this podcast, go like Matchstick on Facebook. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And always, always, always support your local music scene. And if you're in a band or you're a musician, get in contact with us. Show us your work, and maybe one day in the future we'll be able to work together. Um, I hate to be the. It's very much a stereotype within the music. People within music say big things are coming, but we have big aspirations. Um, and we have a lot of dreams to do big stuff. And if you like us, and if you follow us or follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, hopefully one day you'll be able to see us doing those big things and decide to come along. So yeah, that's what I wanted to plug.
For anyone that wants to look for this stuff here, I will say all the links to Matchstick will be in the detail description of this podcast. If you're listening to
thanks,
it,
dude.
not a problem. If you're listening to it off of your iOS device or Android device on Anchor.fm, or the application for it through this podcast, which is Anchor.fm/Uncle Jon Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast as well off of Apple Podcasts, which the link for Matchstick will be in the description. Only thing you gotta do is just tap on details, hit that link for Matchstick, and there you go. But yeah, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on here, and plus,
thank you having me on again.
It's really not a problem. This time we actually have better audio.
and honestly, we can do this more often now because I own a proper mic and I own the right equipment to do it. So yeah, we can, like, in the future, if I have time. Plus, I'm always at my girlfriend's house, and it's very easy to record stuff here because, currently she works, obviously, so, and yeah, so, currently the only people I have in this house is me and 3 dogs, so I can talk and not have to worry. Because you remember in the past when we were talking, we were afraid our parents come in and see what the fuck I'm doing, but no. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in.
And thank you everyone for listening. And if you listen to this far, I love you all. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this podcast. Kyle is always welcome into the Uncle Jon Podcast. Matter of fact, you're also going to hear him on another podcast coming very, very soon. It's over on Wrestling with the Podcast. Kyle, go.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right. You will hear him very soon. Not going to say when. Sometimes you need to be, a little surprised on what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you where he's going to be at, but he's going to be there. He will be informed, and he better not leak it. But until then, thank you all so much. Like I said, details to everything will be in the details of the podcast. And once all the episodes are loaded up to YouTube and or Facebook, they will be somewhere around the description box area. So until then, I will see you all next time. Kyle, thank you so much for joining. And it's been a pleasure. Till then, see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.